do celebratory work, although she would probably argue with that. We're just trying. Aha, we're in tune with the universe. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Art with Liz. I want to start by thanking the Hoboken Library for allowing us to have these hybrid classes. Welcome to those of you who are working from your home studios, whether you're on Zoom or watching on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to those of you who are here in person at the beautiful Hoboken Library. I am thrilled today with the artist that we are going to look at. I hope that by looking at her work, she will inspire you to do your own work today. She is an artist that when you Google looking for artists who are artists who celebrate happiness and joy and using bright colors, her name comes up usually number one. And because our theme for the month of November is celebratory artists in this month when the weather turns dark and gloomy and gray, usually, I've chosen the theme of artists who use bright colors. I am excited to talk about this morning Georgia O'Keeffe. We have spoken about her in the past in different ways. She is, for me, a particular favorite because she is one of the artists whom, in my youth, inspired me to feel good about the art that I make and who encouraged me through her work to pursue art in a more professional way. So I hope you find her work as interesting as I did way back when. I still like her work very much. She was, in her day, a groundbreaker, particularly for women. She was born way back in 1887, but her work is still relevant today. We're going to start, as always, with a slideshow of her work. Her work is ubiquitous at the moment. You can find images of Georgia O'Keeffe's work everywhere. But Laura, can you help me with sharing, please? But I'm hoping today we can look at it in a slightly fresh and new way. She is an American artist. She's known for her paintings of enlarged flowers, plants, bones, etc. She loved nature. She is recognized as, quote unquote, the mother of American modernism. And I'm going to talk more about that while we look at our slideshow. And here we go. Folks at home, are you able to see the slideshow? Yes, okay. So here we go. She started in 1905 her formal training at the Art Institute of Chicago. They own one of her largest paintings. It is a cloud painting. It covers an entire wall. It is a painting just of clouds that she saw while looking out of the window of an airplane. It's quite an extraordinary piece. And she started out at the Art Institute of Chicago and then moved on to the Art Students League of New York. She didn't quite like her lessons there and became financially unable to further her education there and moved on to become a commercial illustrator and taught in Virginia, Texas, and South Carolina between 1911 and 1918. So also between 1912 and 1914, she was introduced to the work of Arthur Wesley Dow. He was a huge influence on her art. He was an artist who believed in doing work based on someone's own personal style and interpretation of subjects rather than the traditional way of doing art at that time, which was to copy things and to portray them as realistically as possible. So Arthur Wesley Dow really exploded the visual world for her and enabled her to think about how to produce art in a totally different way. Morning, Eileen. So this image, the first slide, is very typical of the kind of work that Georgia O'Keeffe is very famous for. She is well known for these very large images, enlarged, kind of blown up, as if you're looking through a camera or you're in a dark room trying to create a photograph, and you enlarge the image until it fills up the entire screen or the entire canvas, almost to the point where it's not recognizable as the thing that you are trying to make an image of. Her paintings become more and more abstract the longer she works in this way. In 1915, while she was working at the University of Virginia, she produced some charcoal drawings, very abstract, that fell into the hands of Alfred Stieglitz. Alfred Stieglitz was an art dealer and photographer. He fell in love with her work and started exhibiting it in New York City. And over the next few years, she taught and went to school at Teachers College, Columbia University, from 1914 to 1915. Again, this is really typical of the O'Keeffe paintings that she became very famous for. When she first met Stieglitz, however, this was not the kind of work that she did. She was doing looser watercolors, looser charcoal sketches. Stieglitz actually told her to stop doing the watercolors and to do more oils like this. He believed that women were being denigrated and overlooked because they were known for doing pretty watercolors, and he didn't want her to be ignored and overlooked. So she dropped doing the watercolors and started doing more of these large paintings. So in 1918, she moved to New York at Stieglitz's request and began working seriously as an artist. They had a very deep professional relationship, which blossomed into a romantic relationship, and they married in 1924. He was actually married to someone else at that time. They divorced, and he married O'Keeffe. Again, her work started getting more and more abstract. And unfortunately, according to O'Keeffe, critics started seeing in her work female genitalia. She rejected that perception of her work. She was started being connected to a growing feminist movement in the art world. She said, "I'm not a feminist. I do not want to be known as a woman artist. I am an artist. And she fought against this label and this depiction of women's sexuality in her work for her entire life. This was very important to her that her work not be looked at in that way. So, this is an example of the kind of work that she gave up when she met Stiglitz. So, these are the very loose, haptic, emotional watercolors that she was doing because of the influence of Alfred Wesley Dow. I personally find them incredibly beautiful and a lot more interesting than the flower paintings. I don't know. I'm looking to hear from comments from you folks.
Did you do more like that?
She did, however, way less than the oils because the oils started to sell and the oils helped her to survive and make a living. Therefore, she started doing more and more of the oils. And Stiglitz, it was very important for him that she become independent and that she be able to support her own career. He continually exhibited her work. He definitely was a supporter of her and her career. They lived together in New York until 1920 when she discovered the Southwest of the United States. She traveled with a friend to visit there. She was having severe emotional problems because she discovered that Stiglitz was having an affair with another woman. In fact, she was admitted to a mental hospital because she was so deeply disappointed and affected by his relationship with this person and was unable to paint for quite a while because of that. So she traveled to the Southwest where she reconnected with her painting mojo because she fell in love with the landscape of the Southwest. And she would spend part of every year at that stage of her life with Stiglitz, where she would paint. She continued teaching at various different institutions throughout her life. And we could go into great detail about that, but I think we're not going to do that today. All right. Stiglitz was 24 years older than O'Keeffe. He did provide financial support, arranged for a residence and place for her to paint in New York starting in 1918. He helped her to meet a lot of other artists who were working at that time, including Charles Demuth, Arthur Dove, Marston Hartley, John Marin, and the photographers Paul Strand and Edward Steichen. Strand's photography, as well as Stiglitz's, inspired O'Keeffe's work. So he was very important to her in her life. There's no doubt about that. In 1926, good morning, she started her series of paintings of the buildings in New York. I don't know if I have any of those in the slideshow, some of which are quite beautiful. This is another one of her watercolors. And again, in 1929, she traveled with her friend Rebecca Strand and stayed in Taos. Rebecca helped her establish a studio there. She began spending more time in New Mexico. She collected rocks and bones from the desert floor, and she fell in love with the architecture as well as the landscape in New Mexico. So from 1932 until about the mid 1930s, she did suffer from a few nervous breakdowns and was admitted to a psychiatric hospital because of her husband's affair. She was still a very popular artist, however, and she was getting commissions. Her work was exhibited in New York and other places. And it was this time she started her Deer Skull series of paintings. Eventually, when she started recovering from her mental illnesses. What do you think of this painting? Thoughts, feelings?
Would never know it's Georgia O'Keeffe. I think the flowers are what most people are familiar with. So
Yes, they are definitely emblematic of her work.
She's starting something. It's not in my eye.
Right.
Striking.
Very colorful. So again, she fits with our theme today. Bright, bright, bright colors, except for the series of New York buildings and a few of her. Come on in, Rose. Come and take a seat. Great to see you. There's a seat at the back here where you can sit. Color was always central to her work. So she had a special place called Abiquiu in the Badlands of the Southwest, and also another place called the Ghost Ranch, which she called her Black Place. She had a white place in Abiquiu and a black place at the Ghost Ranch. She made paintings in both places. She loved them so much. Another one of her watercolors. Robin, you like this one. Can you articulate? Can you put into words why? You know, it's tough. Just everything about this you love. So her watercolor work is very quick, very fast. I'm not sure what the little squares represent. Clouds, perhaps. This could be a building with windows. What, Rose? Could be stars. Okay. Notice the difference between the oil and the watercolor. The nature of watercolor obviously is to be drippy and loose. The oil paints are very thick and solid, not transparent and watery like the watercolors.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
When you're doing watercolor, you don't have as much control over what happens. So how do you know when you got what you want?
It's years of practice.
Yeah.
Yes. And because we have several new students today, Laura, I'm going to ask if I can do a demo. So I will be doing a demo to show some of the techniques you can use with watercolor paint. So Eileen, maybe you'll get some review on that today. Okay. She's had many exhibitions. The Worcester Art Museum held a retrospective of her work in 1960. In 1970, the Whitney Museum of Art mounted the Georgia O'Keeffe retrospective exhibition. And then tragically in 1972, O'Keeffe lost most of her eyesight because she got macular degeneration and she only had peripheral vision. She stopped oil painting on her own in 1972, but she was able to do some work with assistance. And at that time, she worked only in watercolor, starting in 1972 on her own. Another one of her watercolors. She remained very prominent in feminist art circles. Judy Chicago, the feminist sculptor, made a plate for her in her sculpture, The Dinner Party, because of how important Georgia O'Keeffe was to so many female artists in the history of art. But again, O'Keeffe refused to join the feminist movement or even cooperate with any all-women projects. She had multiple honors. She was elected to the American Academy of Arts and Letters in 1966. She was awarded a doctorate, an honorary degree from Harvard University, also from Bryn Mawr College. Gerald Ford presented her with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor awarded to Americans. Ronald Reagan gave her the National Medal of Arts. She's also was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. And interesting, for those of you who come to this afternoon's class, she did strike up a friendship with Yayoi Kusama. Kusama started writing letters to her when she came to the United States, and she helped Kusama financially and also emotionally, because Kusama is another artist who has struggled with mental illness. And in 1945, Stieglitz did die, and she gave up her New York residence and started living in New Mexico full time. And at her death, in Santa Fe, the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum was founded. I'm not sure about this. I could be making this up, but I think the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum was the first museum in the United States completely devoted to a woman and her art. Lindsay, could you fact check me on that one? I tend to talk in hyperbole. Those of you who are my veteran students know that. This is another one of her watercolors. She had two homes in New Mexico, the Ghost Ranch and Abiquiu. I think later in life, she spent more time at Abiquiu, which was an abandoned hacienda that she renovated. And later in life, she met a very young man who was, I think, 27 years. Well, he was only 27 years when she met him, Juan Hamilton. He was a potter, and he became her live-in assistant and caretaker. And he taught her how to use clay. He was a ceramicist. He taught her how to use clay, and she started making pottery very late in life. And he took care of her. He was devoted to her. And upon her death, she left most of her $76 million estate to him, much to the dismay of her family, who contested her will. The case was unprecedented and became quite famous in legal circles. I think he did. And he was one of the people foundational in starting the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. He was very generous, has been very generous with her money. Set up schools in her name, et cetera, et cetera. Another one of her watercolors. Beautiful color, I think, in this one.
It was the first one dedicated to a solo artist. There was a museum open 10 years prior that was for women artists, but it's the first one dedicated to a solo.
For a single woman artist. So I was correct in what I said. The Georgia O'Keeffe Museum was the first museum in the United States solely devoted to one woman artist. And if you ever get a chance to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico, you been, Lindsay? Yes, I did say in the United States, right? Yeah. If you ever get the chance to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico, it is an extraordinary museum. I challenge you, even if you don't like O'Keeffe's work, the museum is really beautiful. Esther, you been? Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. And I believe they own, except for the few pieces that have been donated to a variety of museums, they own just about everything O'Keeffe ever produced.
Of course, you would think that.
Really? I mean, this is when you talk about her.
We don't have to whisper.
I'm not listening.
Yeah. Well, she did. She did this. I'm great you brought that up. There are wonderful landscapes of the Southwest that she did. She loved in the black and white places. She was drawn to the mountains. And she did do multiple landscapes. She was very drawn to the landscape of the desert. That's another, if you're lucky enough to go to Abiquiu. I never got to go to the Ghost Ranch. Anyone here? You've been to Ghost Ranch, Suzanne?
Yeah.
It looks just like this. Abiquiu too. It's just so much. You walk in to her home and you know that it's Georgia O'Keeffe's home just by the things she collected. Beautiful stones and bones, and it just feels like her presence. It is the monument to Georgia O'Keeffe and how she must have lived her life. And very clean and spare, and there's not a lot of stuff. It's just basic. There's very little to this painting, but what is there is just, for me, exquisite. And I'm showing more watercolors because I think these are genius. The other paintings also well done, but these to me show the heart of who Georgia O'Keeffe was. And they're not big. These are quite tiny. The oils tend to be larger. It's a lot of movement in these, a certain rhythm and flow. Yeah. Folks at home, feel free to comment if you wish. Gorgeous color. You can get very intense color with watercolor, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you today. Most people think it's impossible to achieve, but you can. It is. Yep. All right. So I'm going to go back to this one. Folks at home, you can still see this, right? Okay. I'm going back to the more well-known imagery. I don't want to put this down because this is also extraordinarily beautiful. I want to point out certain things that to me are exciting about this aspect of O'Keeffe's work. I want you to look at the background and notice how she used what we call negative shape. For those of you who are my newer students, negative shape are these kinds of shapes. And she did this a lot. Sometimes the background is more important than the foreground. Sometimes the background is more powerful than the actual shape that you're looking at. And she played around with positive, negative shape a lot. And I think that's a large part of why she liked enlarging things to fill up almost the entire space, because she liked that interplay of positive and negative. Also, darks and lights. Notice the way, and this is true of all flowers, dark in the middle because less sunlight reaches the middle of the flower. Brighter around the outside. Keep that in mind for the projects that I'm offering today. Deep inside is where the darkest areas of the flower are. That's what makes it look three-dimensional. Underneath is where you'll see shadow. Underneath. That's what defines the shape. Most flowers do grow from the center outwards and up, out and up. And most flowers do have this stuff in the middle. I always forget if it's the stamen or the pistil. But they're all connected. But there's usually this textural action in the middle of most flowers. So that textural, this beautiful texture, she liked to really focus on that as well. And I think she enlarged the image so that she could incorporate texture, form, shape, and as much color into the image as she could. She forgot about the fact, or she denied the fact that it was a flower. She liked making it as big as possible, or bones. If she was painting the skull of a deer, she would make it fill the whole image so that it wasn't a skull anymore, or it wasn't a flower anymore. It was just a shape. Okay? But different from other abstract expressionists, except for Arthur Wesley Dow, it had emotional content for her. It wasn't just about the act of painting, it was about expressing feeling. Those are things to think about with Georgia O'Keeffe. Any last minute thoughts before we leave the slideshow? Thoughts, comments? Uh-huh. No, it was the art critics. She completely rejected that idea, Rose. She hated that reference. In fact, it caused her almost pain. It hurt her that critics said that about her work. It was an insult to her. Part of that too was, and I failed to talk about this, was that Stieglitz photographed her in the nude. She was a subject of Arthur Stieglitz, and he would display those photographs next to her paintings. So the public got confused about the message and would often conflate the photographs of her with her artwork. Um,
Body, but it was static.
right, right. And what? She was old. She was up there. She died at 98. She became increasingly frail. She moved to Santa Fe in 1984. She died March 6th, 1966. 1986, sorry. She was cremated. Her ashes were scattered on the land at Ghost Ranch. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think that was before they met. Yeah. Yes. So right now, folks at home too, I'm gonna do a short demonstration for those of you for whom it may be review. You can just jump into the project that I'm about to offer. Those of you who are here also, if you don't want to watch me do the demonstration, you don't have to. For those of you who do want to watch the demonstration, you can either watch on the large screen or you can stand behind the tripod at the back of the room and watch from there, which I think is probably the best position for you to be in. But first, let me tell you about the project. Step back 1 minute, Liz. If you are coming to the afternoon class, you may leave your things at your table at cleanup time and just continue working on whatever you started this morning. You will not have to clean up. Okay, the project for today. Couple of choices. I will put up an O'Keeffe picture after I finish the demonstration. You may copy O'Keeffe. I think one of the best ways to learn how to do art is by copying. You may, for the second choice, you can look at images of flowers or skulls and create your own enlarged drawing or painting. And that's it. Those are your choices for today. There are colored pencils, acrylic paint, watercolor paints, and oil pastels available to those of you who are here today. I did not bring in watercolor paper, unfortunately. I'm not sure why I didn't do that, but we have plenty of regular heavyweight drawing paper. Any questions about projects that are offered today? Just a suggestion for those of you who are not watching the demonstration, with watercolor, I highly recommend that you start with a very light pencil drawing first, very light, and then start blocking in your larger shapes and the background first with a light wash of paint, and then proceed to heavier use of color. All right, questions, thoughts, ideas? Let's go to work. We have an hour or more to go.
Sorry, Liz, what are you demonstrating?
I'm doing a review of watercolor, basic
Okay.
watercolor techniques.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And sorry, I'm not set up to do that, so it's going to take a little bit longer than usual. Margot, I didn't know I was going to have, there are quite a few new students, so that's why I'm doing that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So this afternoon, those of you who are interested, you're looking at the work of Japanese American artist Yayoi Kusama. There's another fantastic art. And she's also in her 90s. Still going strong.
It's really good game for the comics. I feel like all of them, they ran out.
Look for that one.
No, all of them.
All of them have run out of yellow?
Oh, yeah.
You can use acrylic and thin it with water. Yes, yellow is the most popular color. Brand new brushes, please treat them gently, folks. Remember, after you clean them, try and shape the tip back into its original shape. I can't believe it. Look at yellow. Like that. I'll show you how you use one. Oh, good. Probably something very different. Should be a pencil jar. No, I thought. Then bring the electric chart here today. There's also charcoal. You can do a charcoal drawing. Love charcoal.
I'm gonna start it.
Those of you who are here, if you want to stand behind the tripod, I think it's the best place to watch, or you can watch on the big screen. All right. So, like to enlarge, now I'm working in memory. Flower, and she would like to enlarge. Large flower like shape. Very light. Very fast. That's home, you probably can't even see my pencil line. But that's because when you work with watercolor, you want the lines to be very faint, otherwise they will show through. And I brought a pencil with an eraser, because erasing good shape. Erasers for that moment, part of the nothing on. Once you block out where your shapes are going to go, go back to watercolor. Once you block out where the shapes are going to go, you do what are called wash. Color is going to be thin and transparent, thin. But watercolor artists work first. Watercolor can try by strokes or threads. Go where it wants to go. Whether it's the blood in no water does what it needs to do. Through experience, you start learning how to control water practice. So, remember what I said, in the middle of the flower, you can darker, red and green, both are complementary colors. Mix in a little bit of green. Great moment. We had a selling bed down. Watercolors, you must use the water in order to make it work. The more water you use, the more transparent. That's what you want for the first phase. Just blocking down. Always do your mix in your palette, not on you make the stay color of the image. It's more difficult. Always mix. You can have a test piece of paper, you can test on one side. Don't try and mix on the darker shapes. Don't be afraid to experiment with color. Like it look like. Remember your goal is just to put it out. Block out. So, two ways to go about these things. You might notice sometimes I just put water, then I add. That's fine. One way to let the color spread on its own. Another way is to use less water, more paint. Always have available lots of water. See how when I use less water, the color. So there's no white. Way to achieve bright white effects and use the paper. Thinking I might want to have a white highlight. So it goes. do the background first, which is unusual. And I didn't do that because the background in this O'Keeffe style painting is actually smaller shape than the actual object. But I wanted to get the flower shape. Now, but you must do the back, where I should talk about the negative and positive shape. It really is essential. That's the entire picture. One thing you might want to do, particularly when you're doing the back section, is to let most of it dry, so that when you come up close to the edges, they're not in position. Unless you like how it looks. You notice, she let the colors bleed together. Let watercolor do it. That's entirely up to you. Don't leave the back white. And the reason for that is when you leave the background white, it tends to swallow up the ink. Yeah, it does. It took you a long time to realize that. I thought it, I think, how many years? Years. Now, because we've run out of yellow, I want to take a minute. You can make acrylic watercolor light. You just use a lot of water, and it will spread. Quite frankly, ordinarily I would use yellow, but I want you to think bright. And here's some more tips. Brushes come in different sizes and shapes, and that's because they can be used for different things. Want the tiny brushes to keep extra. They are used best for anything dry. You want to come in and black is great, but I don't know. Black is my personal favorite color, but we use it sparingly in watercolor. And I tend to mix it with other colors because I think it has more impact when I do that. I don't use it. I don't want black color. I just think it's fake. I like to use it. It's a wonderful watercolor color book, Payne's Gray, PAYNE-S. It's such a wonderful rich. But when watercolor keeps dry, it won't spread and bleed. So then you can do all kinds of wonderful things. And you can do what's called dry brush. That's when bristles start to spread. Wonderful extra things, but you can also define and outline. Square brushes, I find, are great in shading. So remember, underneath, you want shadow. These kind of big round brushes are great for that. And the way to get the more intense color is to build up your layers. That's the paint dry. That's water. Another interesting thing to do, if you want white highlights, you can wet the paint and you can take paper towel and sop up some of it. again. New dry brush and size big brush. Questions? Okay, I don't want to do any more. of this. Using up all your time. Go away. You don't have any questions. Have fun. Start first with that light pencil drawing, unless you just want to play and do abstract and just experiment with paint. Okay, put a picture. Thank you, Laura. Wow. Oh, you want the paper? Okay. In this class, doesn't matter what the end product looks like. Back to do, yeah, you like. Between the dots. That's the first talking to you about. One of those are incredibly good. There's a picture of me holding a dog. One that you found in the desert.
Yeah. I don't know if they were
Good.
What in there?
It says cow.
Oh, God. Oh,
Dead seer.
yeah, right, but the more specific.
Yeah.
It's all a good person. What?
So those of you who never used watercolor paints before, be patient with yourself. It's a matter of building up layers. Take your time. Do two pictures, one experimentation and then one try and do a finish. Does that make sense? And stop with the negative chat, as in, I can't do this. You're here to have fun. Fun in the sun that's not out today. Folks at home, you good to go? I'm about to put up a picture. Always difficult to choose from all the millions of O'Keeffe images out there in the world. But I'm going to put up a watercolor. Oh, here's one I didn't even show. Let's go with this one. Or this one. I like this one. Folks at home, I hope you can see this one. This afternoon's class starts at 1 p.m. Is there no meditation class this morning?
Because it's your bathroom, so I don't know.
Oh, that's a shame.
I think it'll be more.
Okay, good.
You said there's one at two.
Well, there's one at 2 p.m.
Oh, Evelyn? Well,
Yes.
it's at two. One second. Oh, you're my teacher.
Laura should know. Let me ask Laura.
I think I know you were my teacher. Yeah, it's at two. But I think that's how I recognize you.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yes.
Money. Now, the question of control. I forgot to talk about control. Have more control the closer to the point of the brush. More control. When you closer to the yes. Like that, and you're doing the loose, yes, right. You want to hold on to great time. You want control. And it's true with the paintbrush. So when you're doing done in larger shape, you hold. We're not doing it. We want to get this. They are meant play. Art, like science, is a form of experimentation. We live with this erroneous belief in this country that you're born with the ability to do perfect art.
It's true,
It's not true.
no, it's true that you're, it's wrong. So I was gonna contradict you.
I'm really true. O'Keeffe started drawing at a very young age to practice. He wasn't born into a fake construct. I don't know who invented the idea. Come out of the womb. Being genius. I don't know. Not true. Some people have particular bents. Like Mozart knew how to compose. Some are very young. Yet. Just driven. That's what it was. Also came from a long time. But he thinks something. Yeah, but he thinks, I will say this. The man. Constantly reacting and reacting. Who? That's great. Notice in the image I put on the screen, how she let things bleed. She let the paint do its thing. It takes courage, but if you don't want to do it throughout your painting, try doing it in a certain spot. Courage and experience. The more you paint, the more you realize it works. Initially, it takes courage because you've been taught in a culture to be perfect. If it's perfect, it's not art. It's the imperfections, the ability to allow your style to shine through that makes it art. The desire to have the perfect edge stymies your ability to create. And it's good to copy O'Keeffe, but are you Georgia O'Keeffe? No. You will never be able to replicate her work, and that's okay. You are doing your own. You can learn through copying, but you will never be her. Folks at home, you're good? You must be deeply involved. spent some time in Hawaii. It's a period in her career where she was becoming less popular, and I forget which pineapple company. So somebody hired her to do some commercial.
The oldest for banana.
What?
The oldest for banana.
No, there's pineapple, full pineapple.
Okay.
She went, they sent her to Hawaii for 9 years. She did everything but pineapples. And it revived her career. It's really gorgeous, tropical plants and flowers. And then they insisted at the very end that she had to do a pineapple. And she didn't do it until she was back in New York. She did, I guess, a couple of things about pineapples. Inspired. I would get pineapple. I understand. But she has to fulfill her pineapple.
She wasn't inspired until she was told what to do.
I did not like people.
Well, the pineapple that existed did.
And yet she allowed Stevens to rule her life.
Well, you know, man is a man, an older man is a man.
I think you must have read it out.
It sounds like I read that all that.
What do you say?
Oh, that at that time there was no, not quite pineapples like they do now. They have, maybe the legal stuff and the other sort of, 100 kinds of pineapple in the world, but they only had the kind that they needed for production. And they're not as interesting. And they wouldn't have been in their natural state. It wasn't a natural pineapple.
They were farmed.
Yeah, they're not as attractive that way. As opposed to if she went into the jungle and she saw a wild pineapple, it might have been very interesting, because it's a, you think about it, it could be an pineapple.
Yeah.
I mean, the market used to be downtown, even if you didn't get, different kinds of pineapple. I mean, like that. So
The real deal instead of the
Yeah.
farmed.
and the taste no different.
It was the market. That's.
Huh?
Yeah. Our crops is-
Wasn't that great? Yeah, it was great.
What a good thing to pull over.
Right,
Still here? Huh? You're still here.
No, that was nice.
Okay.
That's
Four
not
and five.
good. That's not good. I know. But still, but they can just farm. Yes, there are a lot of good. Good things. The bird. Bakery.
I know. That's what I always think. I know.
And then the penny that, not as good as expensive.
Which one?
They sell decent. Right. I'll let. No, I love that.
I like that. You just looked at it and whoops. Okay, I'm like. Friendship? Friendship.
No,
Exactly, that's what I do. I got the training on it. It's, started, large cup. I'm just trying to see here, I'm gonna stop here. No, don't worry about it. This is the bar.
there's this black.
The
volunteer.
Oh, okay, I get it. All right, so. So make sculpture of the space, but sorry to tell. You notice the tiny little negative. Even next to you. It's inspired by that one. I think there's the wrong. I wish I could have a set of letters. Just for.
The eye.
Well, I actually said them. it.
That stand is. My first time. Learn to accept. It's hard. I appreciate that. Well, I knew when you did the American move. First started. Are you letting this dry and you're gonna do more of it?
Not today. Yeah, that's good.
So you like one day.
Yeah, like, I don't think I can even
Yeah, I should.
and yeah, let's see the right of it. I said black. I know. I don't think like that. Making it brand new, like for making morning smell. Sometimes it's that.
And I read it, my mother's cloud.
That kind of people start out with like.
Agreed.
Margot, you good? Assuming yes. Anyone else still online? On Zoom?
course.
Sorry, I was on mute.
No, that's quite all
I'm
right.
here. I'm here.
Oh, wait. Just realized what time it is.
12:12.
Um, gosh, people are so deep into what they're doing. Just a reminder, it's almost time to stop and clean up. If you are planning to stay in person for the afternoon class, you do not have to clean up. Those of you who are leaving at 12:30 and not coming back this afternoon, you must obviously clean up. And a note about brushes, particularly those of you who have never used brushes before. Not only do you need to clean them, but try and reshape them into the shape that you found them in. Otherwise, they lose their shape and they become difficult to use. So while they are still wet, gently put them back into the shape that you found them. And a great way to test whether or not they're clean, I like to just brush it on the back of my hand, and if it leaves on the back of your hand, you know right away it's not clean. And we do traditionally do sharing at the end of class. It is non-judgmental sharing. We just give people ideas about what you can do next. If you have a palette filled with acrylic paint, don't wash it out. People this afternoon might use it, so leave that as it is. You have a lot of paint left over, so please leave it. You can put it on the window ledge at the back next to the acrylic paint. And those of you who are new members of this class, I do have an email list. I've sent out an email over the weekend to alert folks about what's coming up in the following week. If you'd like to join my email list, please do write your email on a piece of paper and give it to me before you leave, and I'll add you to our list. Those of you veteran students, are you all getting emails lately? Is there something into your good lately? Robin, you're good lately? Yeah, you always reply, Robin, so I know you're getting them. Daniel, are you getting emails?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mary, if you'd like to join the email list, do the meeting. Unfortunately, we only have one bathroom, so. Oh, they're both open now?
I tried, yeah.
Both doors open? So we're paying for trade. So both bathrooms are available.
Wow.
What about the one on this side, Laura? Can we use this one? You don't think so? Right in chat. I'm so excited. We have two. Maybe there's three. Right, so we do have two bathrooms available. When I was gonna show you, this is what I'm looking for. Maybe by accident, somebody doesn't know what. And yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, this is my old pair of sunglasses. They're on the wrong prescription. Yeah. And they're so expensive.
Hey, Liz,
Yes, Margot.
I have an announcement to make.
Oh, Margot has an announcement. Let's hear it, please.
Just want to let everyone know I'm in a group exhibit at the Cliffside Park Library for this month, the month of December. At
If
8
you please send me the exact dates and address, and I will email out to everyone, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
I'll do for this class and the Tuesday class as well. Congratulations, bravo.
Thank you.
You've been working so hard, Margot. Wow.
Yeah,
Excellent.
well, I've got a lot of catching up to do. I didn't take this in college.
So how many pieces are you going to have in the show?
8.
8.
Yeah, 4
Wow.
sketches.
Are
4
they all
watercolors.
watercolors?
No, 4 watercolors and 4 sketches.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Write down in the email about your glasses.
Oh, that's a good idea. Could be.
I'll have to look up the address.
Yeah, send me all the details, Margot, and I will share with everyone. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Jackie.
Sounds good.
I will add you to the list. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you
I will
very much.
add you to the list.
Okay.
That's so cool. I love it when people show their work. That's all part of the process.
Yeah,
Dan,
well, you're the one that enabled me first, so you should be proud because it's a
makes me
group
happy.
effort.
Oh, be careful.
Let me-
Oh, Daniel's going to share. So
You call me.
I was talking about how you showed your work, but come on up. I'm going to stop the share of the O'Keefe, and we're starting sharing. Daniel here is going to go first, so give your attention to the big screen, everyone, please. Let me get out of the way. Go ahead, Dean.
Okay, first it's a failed experiment.
Wow. Well, it maybe failed, but it's excellent, in your opinion. It maybe failed. Very nice. Love the blending.
That's a failed experiment. I tried flour, but I got better on my next practice.
Ooh, that is very nice. Very nice. Nice monochrome. Excellent.
Yeah, it's practice to make clouds and watercolors and all that stuff. Not exactly my forte, but I decided to practice it.
It kind of looks like snowy mountains.
Yep.
That's the beauty of abstract.
It's a great way to get advice or ideas from fellow artists. Judy, you want to go up?
Hey, Sarah, give me the address for the Cliffside Park Library.
The address for Cliffside Park Public Library is 505 Palisade Avenue, Cliffside Park, New Jersey.
More to your left, Judy.
That's
Yeah, there you
yours.
go.
Ooh,
Please.
nice.
I like the shading on the leaves.
I do too. Makes it very three-dimensional. The shadow you created is very nice. You
Very
can
nice.
darker towards the middle, Judy.
Yeah.
A little more darkness towards the middle of the sunflower. And the other suggestion I would get darker around the outer edges in the background to make the flower really pop.
Yeah.
So behind the petals, get darker in the background. Beautiful color, right, everybody?
Yeah.
Yes, it's excellent.
Like details too.
Thank you.
Nice textural details.
Watercolor or color? Watercolor.
Yeah, see how you can build up the layers and get darker and darker. Okay, love that.
Put down like regular paper too.
Yeah, I forgot to cut watercolors. Nice. Anyone else? I don't force people to share. Go ahead. What have you got to learn?
There we go. First one.
Great. And yours is mixed media, right? You use colored pencil as well as paint.
No, this is all acrylic paint.
It's all paint.
Yeah.
Pretty terrific. One suggestion I would get a little darker around the yellow circle.
Mhm.
Because the yellow circle is a little bit lost and difficult to see. But other than that, I think it's terrific. I like the very dark at the top of the bottom,
Yeah.
you know, underneath the pink. I like that darkness there. It kind of grounds the whole picture. It's a certain weight to the whole picture that I like very much. Well done. Have you ever used paint before?
Yeah, I've done a few painting classes that my local library made up, but it's just like once a month. we do it.
Cool. And, okay, cool. You're gonna go, Mayor?
Sure.
We don't bite. Right, very O'Keefe, right? That.
Sorry.
I like the shapes.
Yeah, I like the white between there, I mean, it's so still.
It really defines the shapes, the white, yeah. And Mary, the one suggestion I have, I would get a little bit darker in the background around the edges of the petals. Like it so much. Great. Go ahead, Joy. Give us some joy, Joy.
Personally, I think I need some detail in here.
It's beautifully done. Look at the way she's allowed the watercolor to do its own thing. Turn it upside down. Can we see it upside down? I like it better. Something about the composition upside down that works. Really nice job. Anybody else, Robin?
Well, all right.
Can't get you
I
to
messed
stop.
it up in the middle.
And Margot, we're saving you for last, okay?
Okay,
Robin's going next, and then.
Watercolor pencil and that crayon stuff, and the
Oh, wow,
the middle thing, where am I?
wow.
you're in the middle.
That middle thing is too dark. I want to do some.
It's
And this is pastels? No colored pencils, you said.
Hmm?
maybe a
Colored
little
pencils?
in the lower, your left, the lower left.
This,
Yeah, just to balance out the dark in the middle, because you have some dark on the right,
mhm.
but that right where your left hand is in that bottom corner,
This one.
yeah, maybe something dark there.
Okay.
Balance the composition.
If you don't want to lighten the dark in the middle.
Yeah, I wanted to lighten the dark in the middle, but I can't. There's a crayon on it and
Oh, okay.
see stuff and everything, but it's the pencil and the watercolor and the
That
crayon.
yeah. And it feels very Southwest. Very New Mexico.
Maybe that was what was from her.
Yeah. Anyone else in-house who wants to share? No? All right, Margot, you're on. Let me spotlight you. Suzanne, you don't want to try?
No, because it's the first time I came to our garden on my property. I was trying to draw.
All right.
I worked on something I've been working on. This is watercolor and ink.
Yeah, you've been into this kind of maritime theme for a while. You're into boats and
I like to
water.
be at the beach.
You and me both.
Yeah, so
Very nice.
thanks. Okay.
Now, when you have white in your paintings, do you use a mask or you just leave the paper white?
I did use masking fluid for this
Okay.
because there was a lot of thin white things. But on the boat, that I just left the white. These things up here are masking fluid.
Okay.
Okay. And the roof here is masking fluid.
Okay.
So,
So mask is something that I guess I could say more advanced watercolor artists use. It's a clear liquid that you put on the paper in places that you want to keep white. And it's kind of like if you've ever done batik, where you put the wax that gets melted off after you've dyed the fabric. So or glue. You mask the paper that you want to keep pure and white, and then you can paint around it or even over it, and then you rub off the mask.
and don't use a good brush because it's usually dead after that.
Your brushes, and it's expensive, right? Mask is not cheap.
Around $10 for, the lowest priced one, I think.
Yeah.
I can show you the bottle, but
Sure, show us the bottle.
it,
That'll educate us.
okay.
So it's kind of like a lost wax process. Wherever you apply the mask, the paint.
This is a good brand, Cabello,
No.
and relatively inexpensive. I forget if I got it at Joann's or Hobby Lobby or whatever, but in the art supply section.
Okay.
It's PEBEO. It's drawing gum.
And you can get Golden Paint or Winsor Newton makes masks.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, this is turns a light blue when you use it, so you can
So
kind
you
of
know
see it.
exactly where it is. All right, thanks, Margot. And again, congratulations on your show. Please do send details so I can share it with everyone.
It's in your email now.
All right, awesome.
Okay.
You sure, Suzanne? Okay. I'm gonna keep encouraging if you come back. You don't have to share ever, but. All right, everyone, it is the end of our class. I look forward to seeing you again. Do come back this afternoon. You do need to re-register if you are coming online. There will be a new link. I will see you next week if you don't come back again today. And we will have another artist who explores and uses bright color in their work. Art on. Take care. Enjoy the holiday season.